Cornerstone number one, you have to believe in the power of stretch. I'm limping. I snapped my Achilles tendon. The gentleman who operated on my ankle, he was playing in the basketball game. He denies it, but I believe with all of my heart that he came up from behind me in the game and said, "I need a new boat," and he pushed me down. He surgically reattached my Achilles tendon and put it in a plaster cast for 3.5 months. Got the cast off, I was immediately placed into physical therapy. Anybody in here ever been to therapy? Physical therapy? No. Physical therapy. It's relevant to this conference, it's relevant to this international convention, it's relevant to my presentation. 2 things we learned from physical therapy. Number 1, I go into the physical therapist's office, he warms up my ankle. Then he takes the tip of my foot and he bends it and stretches it to a place it's never ever been before. And as I'm sitting there hanging on with visions of sugar plums pinballing around in my head, he lets go. And it flips back into the exact same spot I was in before he started to stretch me. Wouldn't that be a complete waste of your time, of your money, of your life that you'll never relive again? If we as presenters do everything we know how to do to stretch you intellectually and emotionally, if you just leave Chicago, Illinois, you just leave the Rosemont Theater and slip on back into the exact same spot you were in before you arrived in Chicago, do you realize that's what happens in most of our meetings, and that's why we discount the power of meetings? That's why we discount the power of speakers. How many of you have ever heard a, quote, motivational speaker speak before? Of course you have. Some of you didn't even lift your elbow up off the arm, and you're like, yeah, go on. Yeah, we've heard them all, in fact, yeah. That's why Del Maloney makes his own tapes. Heard all the other ones. I don't want to be a motivational speaker. They say shallow things like we become what we think about. That's not true. If that was true, I would have been a woman by the time I was 12 years old. To be an inspirational speaker, because that word, at least in my heart and my mind, indicates that the message will outlast itself. There's some stretching going on, but it's okay to step out of the box, but it's okay to be a leader, it's okay to think differently, act differently, be more than anybody else that you know. What do we need to do to remind ourselves on a daily basis to stretch? Well, let's just look in the midst of our own families. A little 5-year-old daughter reminded me that it's okay to step out of the box. I had to take her to the emergency room at the hospital. I'm sitting there just trying to mind my own business. I didn't want anybody to bug me. I didn't want to stand out in the crowd. I just wanted to stay in my own little world. Do not bug me. Don't bother me. It's been a long day. And all of a sudden this man walks in with his son. This guy, Rambo-looking macho dude. He comes strolling in like he sat on something hot. And the physician says, "Why are you here?" Real proud. "Oh, my son, he was up high, fell down, broke 3 bones in his leg, didn't even cry." I'm thinking, oh, perfect. The woman comes in with her daughter. The physician says, "Why are you here?" "Oh, my little girl, she was in gymnastics. She fell off the balance beam, twisted her knee." I'm thinking, oh, perfect. Doctor says, "Mr. Clark, why are you here with your little girl?" "I said she has a raisin stuck in her nose." He says, "What?" I said, "Yeah, she has a raisin stuck in her nose." And everybody started to laugh, and all the parents there were gurning me like, "Yeah, you're a responsible dad." And here I am just trying to fit in. I don't want to stand out in the crowd. Leave me alone. And my little 5-year-old daughter, McCall, looks up and says, "Come on, Daddy, what's wrong? You told me to be me." We need to step out. Stretch. Cornerstone number 1, you got to stretch. The second thing we learned from physical therapy that is relevant to this convention, you have to stretch before you strengthen. Here's the kicker. All the strengthening occurs in the area past the point of discomfort. I know a lot of superstar athletes. I know a lot of superstar professionals. I know a lot of superstar individuals. May I be so bold as to throw myself on your heap? I really take a lot of pride in being asked to speak to all of you. This really means a lot. If we put ourselves in the same category, We have the ability to push ourselves to the point of discomfort all by ourselves. But I know of no one who